Yo, what's poppin', guys, and welcome to a brand new tutorial. Today, I'm going to be going over how you can create a real-world clock-based shop system, as in maybe every hour, every 2, 3, 4 hours, a shop will have new stuff in it, and it'll rotate for every single time period that you want it to. So I'll be calling this clock-based shop system, just like that, clock-based shop system. Okay, and now we will start by deleting our cat, and I'm going to be using my project When the World Ended as my base setup, as a sample project, because I've done this in my When the World Ended project, so I might as well use the same thing that I used there. In that game, my arcade survival shop swaps 3 new things every 3 hours. Every 3 hours, my shop will have 3 new items in it, right? So that's what I will be replicating. It's very versatile. You can make it more than 3 hours, less than 3 hours, more than 3 items in it. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. I'm just going to use 3 as my example since that's what I did. So to start off, what I need to do is we need to first of all create what can be in the shop, right? So basically, I'm going to do it in a very simple-esque way, in a way where I'm going to create a sprite, and I'm going to call this sprite shop items, okay? And I'll just make something super basic. So I'll create something like this. This is kind of what I did in When the World Ended. Just a little square. And there we go. I'll duplicate it, and now we will decide what's in them. Just as an example, right? I'm just going to be putting numbers in there, just as the basis example. Obviously, you put what you want in there. So we'll do, for example, 1. Right. And I'll name this 1, 2. Name this 2. I'm just going to be naming these because that is what is the contents of the thing. So 3, 4. I'll go to 6 maybe. That's okay. 5, 6. Okay, there you go. 6 items that can be in the shop. Again, you can make many more. I'm just gonna do 3 or 6 because I don't need many more than that for this example. So I'm going to start. I'll zoom in so you can see when the green flag is clicked. And again, you can put this wherever you want in your game. I'm just going to be using green flag because that's all this project is going to be. Okay, so we're going to have some interesting stuff, okay? So basically what we need to do is we need to be able to run a thing to test what each number of the shop is going to be. For example, let's say you have 3 shop slots, which is what I'll be doing. 3 of these that can be bought, right? So we need to set up something that can identify all 3 of those things. So the way I'll do this is I'll grab a list, and I'll make a list, and I will call this shop items, okay? And I'll show this just for the sake of the tutorial. You will not need to show it. So shop items, we need to figure out what can be added to these shop items. So this is where we'll set up our internal clock, okay? Very easy. All we'll need to do is when I receive the green flag, or when the green flag is clicked, right? We will need to grab ourselves a forever loop. And now, if you were looking for something randomized, I can't help you there. I don't know anything super random. However, it's going to appear random as we do this, okay? It won't be actually random. It will appear pretty random, though. So this will also help you if you want an item that only shows up at a specific time. This will help you greatly there. So we'll do forever loop and then an if else. Okay, I will come to operators, and now this is where you're going to choose your time. Since I'm doing 3 different times, so every 3 hours, you will see here that I'm putting 3 slots for the 3 hours that these will be active. Okay, I'll grab this equals symbol and I'll put it right here, and then come to sensing and grab this current year, put it here, and I can set this year to an hour. Okay, now when Scratch uses this time system, I'm going to duplicate these and put them in each one. They use a military time system, right? Which means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 to 24, right? It means the same thing, right? 0 is 12, okay? So 0 is 12, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, up to 12 is 12 would be noon, and then 13 would be 1 p.m., 14 would be 2 p.m., and so on and so forth, except 24, which would normally be our AM, our 12 a.m., that just gets swapped to a 0. So once you hit 23, it goes back to 0. If you don't know exactly how military time works, I'm sure you can find something on it if you just like looked up military time clock. It's very easy to understand once we get used to it. So let's say that for 12 a.m. or 0, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., so for midnight, 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., these are the items we want in the shop, okay? So we need to set up our shop, okay? So this is where you'll sort out what is going to be in your shops and what can be bought at what times. So here's where we will need to do something. Right here, we are going to grab a repeat and put it right underneath this one and do 3. Or what I do is however many items you're going to have in your shop at a time. Again, I'm having 3. If you want to do 5 items in your shop, set this to 5. Or, however many you're doing. We will delete all of our shop items, and then we will add 0 to our shop items. So that when we start the game, it generates 3 empty slots. Just like that. That's just what we want. Now, what we will do is actually, we could put this right underneath, just like that. Let's do that, so that it generates those, and then we'll start this forever loop. So, right in here, midnight, 1 a.m., and 2 a.m., let's say I want... So what we'll do is we will grab this replace item 1 of shop items with, and then you'll select your first item. Let's say I want 1 to show up, because again, I'm doing these 6 numbers. I want 3 to show up, and I want 5 to show up. And again, set these to 2 and 3. Okay, so we have midnight to 2 a.m. covered. I'll duplicate this and put it in the else. And now we want 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and 5 a.m., right? We will want these set to, let's say I want 2, 4, and 6 to be shown. We'll duplicate it again. And again, with many more items, you'll have many more combinations of things to do. For 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and 8 a.m., I want 1, 5, and 3. And it can be in that order. It doesn't matter. And then for 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m., I want 2, 6, and 4. Right? And then for noon, 1 p.m., and 2 p.m., again, remember, we're going into military time, so 1 p.m. is 13, 2 p.m. is 14. I want 6, 5, and 3. Or that's a 2, 3. And then for 14, so that's 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. I think I have this right. I don't think I'm behind any. I want 5, 4, 1. And for 17, so 18, 19, and 20, we want 1, 2, and 3. And then for 21, 22, and 23, we want 5, 2, and 6. So again, we don't need a 24 because our 24 is the same as this 0. So now we have an entire 24-hour clock, which will say everything just as it should be. Perfect, just like this. Now we actually need to get to setting up what the shop is showing. So you'll see, we can even test it right now. If I hit this, you see we have 5, 4, and 1 in our slots. Okay? Right now, as I'm recording this, it is 5:58 p.m. So we'll actually even be able to see it switch. Well, no, we won't, most likely. No, we will, actually, right here. No, wait, it's 5 p.m., so that would be 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., so it's currently 17, it should be. Yeah, it's 17, meaning we'll be able to see the switch. So we have 5, 4, and 1 under this slot, because it's our current hour is 17. 5, 4, and 1, and you'll see that these are the items in the shop. Now, as we're going, I'm going to keep this running as I continue to explain this next section, just so that we can see it switch to this next set of shop. This is actually perfect timing on my part. Right now it's 5:59, so the second it hits 6, it'll generate 18, and 1, 2, 3 should be in these slots. So just keep that in mind. In about less than a minute, these slots should change from 541 to 1, 2, 3 because it is still running. Anyways, the next thing we need to do is set up cloning of these shop squares, so you can actually click on them and interact with them. So what we need to do for that is run a bit of code that will obviously begin to show these 3 items. So what we'll do is we will come to our events, and we will grab a when the green flag is clicked, just like this. And now we're going to actually set up the cloning process of these items. So what we'll do is we will make a variable. Okay, I'll delete it, and I'll call it shop change. It's 6 p.m. and look, it's switched to 1, 2, 3. There we go. 6 or 18 because our current hour is 18, and the items are 1, 2, 3, just as they should be. So that shows that they do rotate as the hours go on. So that's very nice. Anyways, after creating your shop change, what we'll do is right under here, we'll set our shop change to 0. And then for however many shop items you create, which is 3 in my case, again, you could have more, you could have less, I'll do 3. Just like that. We will set our shop change, or not set, excuse me, change our shop change by 1, and we will create a clone of yourself. Okay? Now, we will set up what happens when we become a clone. So when we start as a clone, we will show. Okay, and now we're going to need to run where they're going to be actually heading to. So, grab an equal sign and put it here. Grab your shop change and put it here, and your 1 here. So, if your shop change equals 1, let's show this, and just, let's say we want 1 to be here. Okay, so we will start by going there. And then we will switch our costume to item 1 of shop items. Okay, now this is the important part. So, item 1 of my shop items right now is 1, and the name of the first costume is 1. That's very important that you have these 2 things named accordingly, right? You don't want this to be named like you don't want it to be named like this, because these things don't match up, so therefore won't be able to actually be able to switch costumes. So make sure that you do have it named accordingly and correctly. So costume 1 of item shops, because if you look at 1 of shop items, it's 1. A bit ago it would have been 5. So 1 of shop items, and if we switch costume to 1 of shop items, so switch costume to 1, which is the name of this sprite, you will see it switches to costume 1. If it was costume 4 at the time and I run this, it switches to 1. So just like that. We'll copy this and put it like this. So let's say 2 of shop change we want to appear here. I will just adjust how these look like that, and we'll set it to item 2. And then once more right here, you can switch this to a normal if, unless you have more to continue on making. So we'll move it down here, and this gets changed to -54 and sets it to 3. So now you'll see right off the bat when you run the code, boom, it does this. But now you notice that it doesn't quite work correctly. Why is that? Ah, yes, I'm dumb. I'm just going to name this something new. Like, I'm just going to call this shop change 2. I forgot. You have to click this for sprite only. So what you can do is if you have Scratch add-ons, just right-click the shop change here. Quick swap variables in sprite for shop change 2. And then it swaps all of them for you. Then you can delete the original and rename this one shop change 2. So now you'll see when we run it, it still does not work. I understand why. That's very easy. So basically the reason is because, so this has to run. So it has to run 3 of these, and then it will set up what the numbers are. And this was running instantly. So this would actually run before this code would. So these were all set to 0 before these shop changes were even set up. So if you just put a 1 spacing there, and this again will probably work if you have a different kind of setup, because in mine I didn't need a 1 second, but that's also because I ran it differently. Like this code was ran instantaneously after I started it. So if you really wanted to, you could do this and then get rid of this wait 1 altogether, and if you ran it and now it runs the 1, 2, 3 as it should. So that was the issue. Very simple fix, just like that. It's just because of in what order it went, in what order it happened, and this coming before this section did. So doing that will fix it perfectly, or just putting a 1 and reconnecting these two, but I'm just going to keep it like this for now. So you see that it runs our 1, 2, 3, which is perfect. Now, what we need to do is, you could probably go about setting up your interactions all by yourself, and it's not very difficult. That's not really what the point of the tutorial is. I'll show you what the basis is. So let's say you have like a money variable, right? Let's say you had some money variable. Okay, so boom, money variable, and let's just say at the beginning I'll set the money to 100, right? Just as a basis example, so we have 100 money. I'll put it down there actually. Right, so what we can do is we can create a when I start as a clone. Basically what we need to do is, so we already have a show, so we'll do a forever loop, and we will do an if statement, go to operators, grab an equals. Really, if you just wanted how to do this and you know how to set up this next part, which is just interacting with the buttons, the tutorial ends here for you. That's all you wanted to know. But for those of you who don't know how to set up an actual shop system, continue watching. This will show you how to do that. So if our shop change is 1, what we will do is we will grab a if touching mouse pointer, or well, first of all, an if else, right? And you'll do touching mouse pointer. On this other half, on this bottom half of it, I'm going to grab a say and get rid of, and just hit backspace and then hit enter, so it's completely empty. Otherwise, what we'll do is we will run an if, right? All right. No, if else. And if else, just check what costume number it is. So if the costume number, where are we? Yeah, there we go. If the costume number is 1, which is, 1 for me, but it's named accordingly like that anyways. It probably won't for you, but, if the costume number, this one, not the name, this top corner one, is 1, which again is my number 1, or whatever the item would be for you, we will say what the item in the shop is maybe. So I'll call it 1 and then colon, and then, so for example, what I did in When the World Ended is I'd say if it was a perk, it'd be perk, and then the name of the perk, and then it'd say what the perk actually did. But I'm just going to put 1, and then I will put how much money it costs. Let's say it costs $10. Okay? So now you'll see when we run this code, if you went over this, it'll say $10. If you let go, it stops saying it. Actually, I'd like a colon in there. I think it'd look, okay, well, not a P. Just a colon. I think it'd look a little nicer. There we go. So yes, now what we need to do is we will run an if statement inside. And this will check if we have the amount of money we need. So grab a greater than, okay? Grab your variable, money, and put it here. So whatever you want it to be cost. So its cost is 10, you'll minus 1. So we'll do a 9, okay? The reason being is because if you have this set as 10, is your money greater than 10? Like, that's true because we have 100, but if you had $10 exactly, right? Like if your money was 10, meaning you had just enough to buy it, and you have it set up like this, where you set this up, you see it's false because you don't have more than 10, you need 11. You might be wondering, why not have equals then? So if it equals 10, you can buy it. Well, let's say you have 100. You have enough to buy it, right? You have enough to buy it, but since it's not actually 10, or I didn't actually reset it, since it's not actually 10, it would be considered false. So you do a greater than, less than 1, how much of what you want. So money greater than 9, meaning 10 and above, you can run that and it will be true. And then again, if you had your money as 9, it would not work. So if your money is 9, what we will then do is we will come and grab an if, okay? And we will grab an and here, put a mouse pointer, sensing, mouse down, which is the same as touching it and clicking, right? Because you can't necessarily put another click because it's it's clone stuff. Clones be crazy, you know what I mean? What we will do is we will need to change our money by, since it costs 10, -10, and then maybe we have like an inventory real quick just so I can set something up just to show you. So let's say we have an inventory. I'll just shrink that right here. Here's our inventory. And we will add 1 to inventory. Okay, perfect. And then we will wait until, go to operators, grab a not, and then put this here. Or we can just do until not mouse down, just so it waits for you to unclick the button so you don't buy a bunch at a time. And then there you go. Then you just take this part of this thing, you duplicate it and put it into this else, and then you set it up for 2. Maybe 2 costs 20. Again, this would make this a 19. You'd minus it by 20, and you'd add 2 to the inventory. And then also do it for the last one, since we only have 3 options right now. So this would be 3. Let's say 3 costs 30. That's 300. I didn't even give myself that much money. This would turn to 29. We'd minus 30, and we'd add 3 to our inventory. Okay. So what you're going to want to do then is, since that's only setting up 1 shop slot, so after you set up every single item you could possibly buy, you're going to take this and duplicate it, and you're going to scroll all the way down where it is. Depending on how many you are, this is going to get very large. You're going to take this and put it right into this else, set this to 2 if shop change equals 2. That's all you'll need to do, and then duplicate it one more time for my case exactly. Put it right here, set it to 3, just so that they'll all work in the same system. And then what I will do as well is I will delete everything from my inventory, just for the sake of the tutorial. Delete all the inventory. So we run the game, our buttons come up. 1 costs 10. Okay, you see how this still says 1? That's because I'm an idiot and I didn't actually name these other ones. So this is 1. I didn't actually change this to say 2. So that's 100% just me being stupid. 2, 3, and then make sure you fix it on these other ones too. No, that's actually fine. This one goes to 2. This one goes to 3. This one goes to 2. This one to 3. So save it, and then we'll take a look. So here we are. Here's our things. You'll see 1 costs 10, 2 costs 20, and 3 costs 30. And when we click on this, we have $100. We click on this. It adds 1 to our inventory. Our money gets changed by -10. Here we have a 2. It adds 2 to our inventory. Our money gets taken away by 20. And we click on this one, 3, and like that. And again, we can add another 1 and another 1. And that's great. And now you see when we hold down the button, it doesn't buy multiple because it has to wait for us to not have the mouse down. So then we can buy what we like. And there we go. There's your internal clock system. And again, once the timer actually changes, everything will be set up perfectly as it should. So there you go. There's your system. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, then like it. If you didn't like it anyways, because I hope this helped you out with your project. Thank you to Altered Air for the idea. He put it in my Scratch tutorial ideas channel in my Discord server. If you're not in the Discord server, join the Discord. It's in the link in the description. You can request your own tutorials if you want to, and if I use your idea, I'll put you at the end of the video just like this. While you're at it, why not subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content? That would help me out a lot. The game jam results will be coming soon this week, so be in tune in the store for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.